And as from an outsider watching the Maine program and knowing what you do there, there's a great respect for the Maine Black Bears and what you do there in Orono. Last year, you got some gratification out of it, but by the way the season went. So after last year, what the expectations might be this year?
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Kurt. It was a very satisfying. It didn't end the way we wanted to, and in fact, because of the ending, it's helped us get refocused on the challenge in front of us, the opportunity in front of us, and what we're going to have to do to be successful again in this great conference. You have to keep young people grounded. That's the way I look at things, and it really is. What have you done for me lately? At the end of our season last year, we didn't finish the way it had started, and because of it, I think we got refocused on what it takes to be a good football team. I think we have a better understanding of it as a result of the success last year. The team concept is more prevalent in our minds because I thought we played well as a team last year, if anything, as a number one type of characteristic. But this off season has been one where we're trying to develop and grow a very inexperienced group now because we lost 18 seniors and 14 of them had significant roles in our success last year. That's a tough number to replace. But we've done it before. We're going to attempt to do it again. And we know that what's in front of us, this league, the challenges that it brings, that's going to be constant. So there won't be any opportunity for us to take a deep breath or relax. It's going to have to be high stakes all the time.
It's program risky to take and say, well, this season compared to other seasons, other successful years. But in your mind, if you can, without making those comparisons, so to speak, where does last season stand for you?
Well, for me, and it really was surprising. I mean, to get on the roll, to be 10-1 in this league, and to go out to a Big Ten school and go toe-to-toe with them, it was surprising. I thought we had a chance to be a playoff team, but not 10-1. Not to that level. But we found ways, and I think one of the great things about winning is how it gives you confidence. Your attitude, as positive it can be, it gets juiced up by the fact that we're successful. We found ways to win, Kurt, that I thought we could point to the team concept. We found ways to win on defense, offense, with special teams. I mean, we kicked 4 field goals for, I don't know how, in Jack Cosgrove era, we had never kicked 4 field goals in a game to win a game, but that's how we beat Villanova, at Villanova. So we found ways to win, and it was special to be a part of that. As far as the season, it was as rewarding as one we could have asked for until the end, and so that's what slapped us around a little bit and brought us and grounded us back to, okay, let's go back to work. Whatever we have accomplished, it really didn't have the finish that we wanted to, and it got us, again, refocused on this fall.
You mentioned all that experience that you lost in seniors, and that's certainly, until they become seniors, they're not going to make those type of contributions as a whole, I don't think, in most cases, very rare cases. But you were picked 7th this year in a very competitive league.
Yeah.
Is that what you might anticipate, or is that a surprise? Or preseason polls are preseason polls.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
We jumped up 1 from last year, so that's a positive. You made a great comment about seniors. You never know. I call it the power of the senior, or the fear of the senior. It's going to be all over. Some of those guys, when they get to this could be my last year, they change dramatically. And we're always hoping for that. You're always hoping that they finally get it, that some of the things that they've neglected to do because the end isn't in sight, they do. And we're counting on that. We think we have a group of seniors that can be real special, smaller number than last year. But I do think they will elevate their play. They have to. And I think that was probably the most influential group of seniors I've been a part of in 22 years was last year's group. Not because they were great players, they were great leaders. They really showed the way. They understood we can win if we do this. And then they embraced the fact that we're winning. Let's keep grounded and keep focused. So, you know, that special syrup that they had, I'm hoping is passed on to this group to allow us again to compete in this league. Being 7th, 8th, 9th, you know, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I get that. I mean, I always have. We're not down the street. We don't get the recruits or the transfers even that others get. But we get hardworking young men who will compete like heck on Saturday, and that's where it's really won and lost.
The leadership, as you mentioned, you got a couple preseason All-Americans.
Yeah.
To talk about.
Yeah.
And what do you see with them in helping this group that you have returning to step up in 2000?
You know, the thing that is unique about the guys that I think are going to be really out in front, a lot of them are underclassmen still. You know, they're not seniors. I think you're referring, and one's a kicker. You know, I mean, that never happens in Maine. I mean, it is so hard to recruit a kicker to Maine simply because of the weather. Well, the guy we got, he's from Canada, so he came south. So, you know, that worked for us. Malumba Shimunga, another Canadian kid, you know. So, and I don't know if I've ever been around a kid who loves football more, you know, and that radiates to his teammates. You know? So, and the same is about the club. I mean, they love the fact that they're in the United States of America, playing the greatest game in the world, and it's really neat to see those two guys, how they influence their teammates. We've got some good players. We like everybody, but we also have the biggest challenge that a football program can have, bringing in a new quarterback. You know, and that this game is won and lost by that position. Make no mistake about it. And everybody gets that. Everybody knows that. Everybody sees it right in front of you on game day. That, you know, they got John Robertson. You know, we got Marcus Washaleski last year. We had a shot. We won. A little different this year. They got John Robinson. We got a new guy. You know, how's he going to respond? So it starts right there with our challenge, and it really has to grow from what we're able to do with that quarterback play.
Yeah. The source, I think, you know, the way that things did end up.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the issue of, if you want to call it an issue, that might be too strong a word, but playing New Hampshire just added the fuel to the whole mix.
Yeah.
Can that increase a rivalry that already is pretty darn good?
Yeah, and I think, you know, it was a unique situation. I was worried about the end of the season game at New Hampshire simply because the week before we had won the conference outright by beating Rhode Island at Maine and beat them handily. You know, I was worried about our ability to go down to New Hampshire and play that football game, and we didn't play well, and they beat us, and they deserved to win. And then all of a sudden it turns around, and we got another game coming up against them, and it was, I'll say this about the event itself and the game itself, it's the best football environment I've ever been in Orono, Maine, without a doubt. If you saw pictures of it, we finally acted like football was a big deal. I mean, we had full stands, both sides. It was a very, very competitive football game. They played better than we did. They were playing better football at that point of the year than we were. We had struggled down the stretch in a lot of ways. We had struggled with Stony Brook, and we struggled with Albany. At Albany, we got beat up a little bit. You know, we lost some key players, but you know, that's the game. You just keep going and keep playing. But it did create a damper in the end of the season. I'll say this to you: in 12, the year before, we won 3 of our last 4. I felt better going into the offseason that year than I did this year, simply because we had been in such a high, and then had that happen to us.
So, what will be the key in not only achieving the conference success you did last year, but getting over that hump there to make a deeper run in the postseason? You've done it before.
The mindset is a key for young people. I mean, I really think they have a tendency to get ahead of themselves. You know, we attained a championship, but again, as I said earlier, that's behind us. That has no significance on 14. Our mindset has to be one that expects our opponents to recognize the championship. You know, this is the defending champ. That we probably have got a win or two in our lives by sneaking up on people, because we're not from down. We're from way up in Maine. We're not from down the street, kind of thing. That's not going to happen anymore. So that, again, is a requirement of ours. And again, these aren't anything physical. They aren't how we execute. This is about our mindset, our humility as a team. We have to have that humility. We have to. I think that's a huge part of leadership. Great leaders are humble, and we have to, again, pass that on to our players so that they are prepared for, again, a tremendous challenge. I want us to look up at our opponents with the respect that we always have. I don't want this Black Bear football team thinking, well, we were champions last year, let's just show up and play. That doesn't work for us. We're the guys that have survived and prospered, I think, because we're the under-recruited, the chip on the shoulder kind of kid, the blue-collar kid at Maine. We got to stay there, and that's our job as coaches, my job as the head coach, to make sure that happens.